My dear sisters, my dear brothers, and all courageous souls who gather in the name of justice, today I rise not only as the president of Burkina Faso, not only as a son of Africa, but as a brother to the women of America, to the women of Europe, and to the women of the entire world. I rise today with a heart filled with respect, gratitude, and unshakable solidarity on this occasion of Women's Equality Day. This day is not just a commemoration of laws passed, nor is it only about history written in books. It is about the living flame of struggle, about the eternal cry of justice, about the dignity of every woman who dared to stand up and say, I too am a human being. I too deserve equality. I too deserve freedom. I too deserve to live with dignity. This day belongs to the American women who marched, who suffered, who raised their voices against silence, who endured insults, who faced prisons, and who broke the chains of oppression so that their daughters and granddaughters may walk freer. I congratulate every woman of America and Europe on this sacred day. I say to you, your struggle is not forgotten. Your courage is not unseen. Your sacrifices are not buried in silence. You lit a fire that spread beyond your borders. You reminded the world that when women rise, nations rise. When women demand their rights, humanity is reborn. And as I stand here, I cannot help but remember the words of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who said many times that women are the twin halves of men. He said, the best of you is the one who is best to his wife. He reminded us that paradise lies beneath the feet of mothers. He declared that women are not property, not servants, but human beings equal in dignity before Allah. He said women are like men in their humanity. How clear, how timeless, how revolutionary are these words. At a time when the world buried its daughters in darkness, he raised them to the light of honor. At a time when women were denied inheritance, denied education, denied respect, he declared that women have rights over men, just as men have rights over them. So today, when I hear the voices of American and European women demanding equality, I do not hear rebellion. I hear the echo of justice that was proclaimed centuries ago. I hear the confirmation of a truth that has no borders, no skin color, no nationality. I hear the cry of every woman who refuses to be treated as less than human. My sisters in America, you who fought for the right to vote, you who fought for the right to work, you who fought for the right to stand equal before the law, you have inspired the world. The chains you broke became lessons for Africa, for Asia, for Latin America. You reminded us that no oppressor will hand over freedom voluntarily. It must be demanded, it must be fought for, it must be seized with courage. My sisters in Europe, you who rose against centuries of patriarchy, who challenged monarchies, who challenged empires, who challenged even the very traditions that sought to silence you. You too taught us that equality is not given, it is taken by those who dare to dream. You stood in factories, in universities, in parliaments, and you declared, we are not shadows, we are not servants, we are not silent, we are the equals of men, we are the carriers of nations, we are the teachers of generations, and we will never be silenced again. To all women I say, your struggle is our struggle, your fight is our fight, your liberation is humanity's liberation. There can be no free world if half of humanity is in chains. There can be no democracy if women are denied their voice. There can be no justice if women are treated as less than human. Let us remember that the oppression of women is not only an American issue, not only a European issue, not only an African issue, it is a human issue. From the fields of Africa to the cities of Europe, from the villages of Asia to the streets of America, women have been denied their rightful place. But the tide is turning, the fire is burning, the voices are rising. The future will not belong to those who deny women their rights. The future will belong to the women who seize it. And I speak directly now to the American women. I know your struggle has been long. I know you are still fighting for equal pay, for reproductive rights, for protection from violence, for respect and leadership. I know your battle is not over. But I also know that you are unbreakable. You have shown the world that the daughters of America carry the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of courage, the spirit of liberty that was promised but not delivered. And I say to you today, the world is watching, Africa is watching, and we stand with you. I say also to the women of Europe, your streets once echoed with chants for suffrage, with protests for dignity, with demands for equality. Today, your voices echo still for justice in the workplace, for safety in your homes, for respect in your parliaments. You are not asking for favors, you are demanding what is yours by birthright. You are not begging for kindness, you are claiming your humanity, and I, as an African leader, stand beside you in that claim. Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Do not oppress women, for they are your sisters." He reminded us that to educate a woman is to educate a nation. He showed us that women stood beside him in battle, in governance, in scholarship. And yet, centuries later, how many societies still fail to honor these truths? How many leaders still pretend that women should remain silent? How many governments still fail to protect women from violence, from exploitation, from discrimination? Enough is enough. This is why today I raise my voice with yours. This is why today I declare, women are not weak, they are the strength of nations. Women are not victims, they are warriors of dignity. Women are not secondary, they are central to the very survival of humanity. I want the girls of America to know that Africa believes in you. I want the mothers of Europe to know that Africa honors you. I want the women of the world to know that in every corner of this planet, we are one in this struggle. Your victory is our victory. Your pain is our pain. Your triumph is humanity's triumph. And so, my sisters, let us march together. Let us march not only for ourselves, but for the voiceless, for the forgotten, for the oppressed who cannot speak. Let us march for the girls who are denied education, for the women who are trapped in violence, for the mothers who are silenced by poverty. Let us march until every girl can dream freely, until every woman can walk safely, until every human being can live equally. I congratulate the women of America on this Equality Day. I congratulate the women of Europe. I congratulate every woman who ever dared to resist, who ever dared to dream, who ever dared to rise. You are the architects of justice. You are the keepers of freedom. You are the mothers of revolution. Without you, there is no progress. Without you, there is no humanity. Without you, there is no future. So rise, sisters, rise higher, speak louder, dream bigger. Do not wait for permission. Do not beg for recognition. Take what is yours. The world is ready, history is watching, and the time is now. And I, Ibrahim Traoré, son of Africa, brother of humanity, stand with you, honor you, and salute you. On this Women's Equality Day, I raise my voice in solidarity with the women of America and Europe, not as a foreign leader speaking from afar, but as a brother in your struggle, a witness to your courage, and a believer in the justice of your cause. Your journey has been long and marked by sacrifice, from the suffragists who defied ridicule and prison in America, to the fearless women of Europe who challenged monarchies, parliaments, and the very structures of patriarchy. You have carried the torch of liberation with unyielding hands. I stand with you because your fight is larger than national boundaries. The equality you demand is not an American demand, not a European demand. It is a human demand. When you call for justice, you call for the soul of humanity to awaken. When you insist on dignity, you remind us all that no society can call itself free while its women remain in chains. I honor the American women who fought for the right to vote, the right to work, the right to be heard in the corridors of power. I honor the European women who marched, who wrote, who resisted the silence imposed upon them. These struggles are not relics of the past. They live today in your battles for equal pay, protection from violence, leadership in politics, and freedom over your own bodies. And I say to you, your courage inspires Africa. Your voices echo in our villages. Your victories encourage our daughters to dream. Solidarity is not a word of sympathy. It is a bond of action. Your liberation is tied to ours. Your victories strengthen us, and your unfinished struggles remind us of our own. Today, I pledge that we will not watch in silence. Burkina Faso, Africa, and every free soul in the world stands with you. Together we declare, women are not secondary citizens, they are the foundation of nations. Together we shout, justice delayed for women is justice denied for humanity. And together we march forward, knowing that your fight for equality is our shared destiny. When we speak of women's equality, let us not forget that this is not a modern invention, nor is it a gift handed down by any government or system. More than 1400 years ago, our beloved Prophet Muhammad peace and blessings be upon him, declared truths that remain revolutionary even today. At a time when societies buried their daughters alive, when women were denied inheritance, denied education, and denied respect, Islam lifted women from the dust of oppression and placed them in the light of dignity. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Women are the twin halves of men." In those words lies the essence of equality, man and woman as two halves of one humanity. He said, "The best of you is the one who is best to his wife." In this teaching, the measure of a man's worth was not his wealth, nor his power, but his treatment of women. He reminded us that paradise lies at the feet of mothers, making it clear that motherhood is not a burden, but a crown of honor. Islam granted women the right to inherit, to own property, to seek education, to participate in public life, and to be respected as independent human beings. Women were scholars, warriors, leaders, and advisors in the earliest Muslim community. Hazrat Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, was not only the Prophet's wife, but also a successful businesswoman and his most loyal supporter. Hazrat Ayasha, may Allah be pleased with her, became one of the greatest transmitters of knowledge, shaping Islamic scholarship for generations. How tragic then that so many societies, including some that claim to follow Islam, still deny women the rights that Islam gave them centuries ago. How tragic that violence, discrimination, and silence are forced upon women in the name of traditions that contradict the very words of the Prophet. We must have the courage to return to the truth that honoring women is not optional, it is a command, that respecting women is not culture, it is faith, that granting women their rights is not a favor, it is justice. To my sisters in America and Europe, know this: when you demand equality, you walk in the same spirit that Islam affirmed centuries ago. When you fight for dignity, you echo the voice of the Prophet who said women are not less than men, but their equal companions. This teaching belongs not only to Muslims, it belongs to all humanity, for justice knows no borders. Nations are not built by bricks and stones alone. They are built by the hands that nurture, the minds that teach, and the spirits that refuse to be broken. And when we look closely, we see that the true strength of any nation rests in its women. Women are not an afterthought in the story of humanity. They are the foundation. Without their courage, without their labor, without their wisdom, no society could survive a single generation. History shows us this truth again and again. Behind every revolution, there were women who carried the flame of resistance. Behind every leader, there was a mother who shaped his character, a sister who gave him courage, a wife who stood beside him, or a daughter who reminded him of the future. The strength of nations is not found only in armies or governments. It is found in the sacrifices of women who hold families together, who educate children, who endure hardship, and who dream of a brighter tomorrow. In America, it was women who fueled the struggle for civil rights, standing shoulder to shoulder with men in demanding freedom and equality. In Europe, it was women who marched in factories and universities, demanding fair treatment and reshaping societies that had long ignored them. In Africa, women have always been the heartbeat of liberation movements, carrying messages across battlefields, feeding communities under siege, and reminding men that the fight was not only for land, but for dignity. Yet too often women's strength is taken for granted, dismissed or hidden behind the names of men. This must end. A nation that ignores the power of its women cripples itself. A society that silences half its population is doomed to stagnation. True progress will only come when women are seen not as dependents, but as leaders, creators, and equals. To the women of America and Europe, I say this: your strength has already changed history, and it will continue to shape the future. You are not weak, you are the backbone of your nations. You are not marginal, you are central. When you rise, entire nations rise with you. When you are empowered, humanity itself is empowered. The strength of nations is measured in the freedom of their women, and a world that respects women will be a world that prospers for generations to come. Oppression wears many faces: poverty, racism, colonialism, patriarchy, and violence, but its victims share a common pain. When women are denied education in one part of the world, it weakens all humanity. When workers are exploited in factories thousands of miles away, the chains of injustice echo in every land. When any human being is silenced, dignity itself is wounded. That is why our struggle cannot be divided by borders, races, or languages. The fight for freedom is global, and the call for justice is universal. My sisters in America, when you march for equal pay, you march for the girl in Africa who longs for a classroom. My sisters in Europe, when you protest against gender violence, you stand with the woman in Asia who refuses to remain silent before abuse. And when women in Africa resist exploitation and demand dignity, we are inspired by the courage of women across the oceans who refuse to accept injustice as normal. Oppression thrives when it isolates us, when it convinces women in the West that their struggle is separate from women in the South, when it divides workers from each other, when it blinds the privileged to the suffering of the poor. But when we recognize our unity, when we see that an injury to one is an injury to all, then the chains of oppression begin to break. Let us remember that tyrants fear unity more than they fear weapons. Exploiters fear solidarity more than they fear resistance. And those who benefit from inequality fear the day when women across continents join hands and say, "Enough is enough." We must build a global sisterhood that rejects silence, a solidarity that crosses oceans, a unity that no oppressor can break. Women in America and Europe must know that Africa stands with them. African women must know that their voices echo in the streets of Paris, London, and New York. Our struggles may be born in different lands, but they are tied together by a single thread: the demand for dignity, justice, and equality. Let us stand as one humanity against all oppression. Let us declare that the age of silence is over, and the era of global unity has begun. Together, we are stronger than any empire, stronger than any tyrant, stronger than oppression itself. My sisters, my brothers, my comrades in the struggle for justice, today we celebrate, but celebration alone is not enough. Equality is not a gift to be admired on a single day of the year. It is a right that must be fought for every single day. This is not the time to rest. It is the time to rise higher, to push harder, to act bolder. The chains of oppression do not fall on their own. They fall when people decide that silence is no longer acceptable. They fall when women refuse to wait for permission, when men refuse to remain complicit, when nations refuse to accept injustice as the price of peace. And so I call upon you, women of America, women of Europe, women of Africa, women of the world. Let this day not be only about remembrance, but about renewal. Let it be the fire that ignites the next wave of struggle. I call on governments, do not speak of democracy while half your citizens are denied equality. I call on leaders, do not speak of justice while women are paid less for the same labor, while violence against women continues unchecked, while their voices are silenced in politics and leadership. Justice delayed is justice denied, and we will no longer wait. I call on men, do not fear the rise of women, for when women rise, nations rise with them. To honor women's rights is not to lose power, but to gain humanity. True strength is not domination, it is partnership, it is respect, it is love. I call on women, do not underestimate your power. You are not asking for favors, you are demanding what is yours. You are not begging for recognition, you are declaring your humanity. From the classrooms to the parliaments, from the factories to the streets, let your voices shake the foundations of injustice. And I call on the youth of the world, you are the inheritors of this struggle. Do not grow comfortable in inequality, do not normalize injustice. Carry forward the torch that your mothers and grandmothers lit, and let it burn brighter in your hands. The future belongs to the brave, the future belongs to the just. The future belongs to women who refuse silence, and I say to you today, rise, march, speak, demand, because the world will only change when you decide it must.